G'day guys and gal. Sorry if I sound a little bit moist or dusty this video. I'm getting eviscerated by hay fever and I look like I've been shot in the face by a bullet made out of bee stings. There is a lot of diversity between the different loyalist chapters. Most of this diversity comes in the form of different colouring of armour or what kind of weapons they use to bludgeon the heretics to death with. Some chapters take this a lot further, most notably the Black Dragons. And no, they aren't diverse because they have black in their name, it's because they have scaly skin and grow horns. I'm sure they could also breathe fire if they put gasoline and a match in their mouth as well. As a side note, I'm pretty sure the word black is actually flagged as a no-no by YouTube, no matter what context it's used in, so I'm fully expecting this video to already be demonetized. As a cheeky little experiment, I won't say any swear words for the rest of this video, however, I'll use the word black in a variety of completely innocent and not even remotely controversial ways to see if my theory is correct. Big brain stuff. Before we get started, with Australia having beaten the Rona and the rest of the world just not really caring that much in the first place, there's a good chance that you're a lot more out and about at the moment. Cue today's sponsor. Frag Pro Shooter, or FPS as it has been cleverly named, is one of the biggest and best mobile shooters out at the moment, with over 50 million players. The gameplay is comparable to Overwatch and Team Fortress 2, however FPS has been designed and built specifically with mobile gameplay in mind, so it doesn't fall into the trap of just feeling like a downgraded port. Also, did I mention that it was free? How it works is that you have a team of 5 characters. You control one at a time, whilst the AI controls the other 4. However, you can swap between teammates at any time during the battle. Your goal is to destroy the enemy bunkers before wiping out the tower to score the win. Each character is totally different with their own skill sets and abilities. With over 80 different characters, that uniqueness translates to a lot of different potential builds. I try to calculate them, but I'm not very good at maths, and 2.884 billion sounds a little bit off. A recent update has brought upon a new character called Archon, the demigod, seems balanced, as well as a new payload escort game mode which comes with its own mechanics and strategies. I'm going on a camping trip over the next couple days, so I'll be able to play this quite a fair bit, so be sure to use my link in the description for a big bonus to start you off, as well as join my club, Majorkills Boios, and we can play some games together. I want to get the club to 80 members if we can. Thank you Frag Pro Shooter for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over who the Black Dragons are and where they came from. We'll also do our best to figure out why they are so goddamn ugly, or cool depending on your perspective, as well as some of their more prominent characters before talking about what they're up to today. Let's get into it. When a humble scientist known simply as the God Emperor of Mankind created 20 legions of demigod super soldiers in his quest to make the galaxy his cum dump, he ticked every diversity box he could, as what is the point in conquering stuff if you don't do it in an inclusive and accepting way? He made speedy Asian Marines, friendly black Marines, and even a bunch of pasty albino emo Marines. However, the diversity did not stop there. The Imperium knew that if they did not become even more diverse, eventually the other races in Warhammer would start calling them bigoted. Cue the Black Dragons. A successor to the Salamanders, who are already giving a lot of diversity points, the Black Dragons are a loyalist chapter created in the 36th millennium during a founding called the Cursed 21st Founding. This founding was a result of a bunch of toaster-loving bionic babies attempting to improve upon the God Emperor of Mankind's work by trying to fix the various gene flaws I covered in my last video. Let's just say that a bunch of bionicle wannabes aren't quite as good at making demigods as the God Emperor of Mankind. Hence, every chapter that came out of this founding had issues. Great diversity points. The Lamenters were part of this founding, and we all know how they are going.
Leave them, then curse. No, brothers, halt, please! Please help us, someone else! Activate explosive! Give us a quick death!
While I did mention that they are a successor to the Salamanders, it isn't entirely confirmed. But look, they have black in their chapter name, it's not rocket science. Their mutation / curse is that one of their gene siege, which triggers the growth of a space marine needs to kick ass, has been spaghettied, resulting in a number of the Black Dragons to grow horns, poisonous sharp teeth, scaly skin, and Wolverine-like bone blades which protrude from their arms. These mutations really pissed off the Inquisition, who are a bunch of bigots that don't like anything that isn't an Ultramarine clone. Puh. As such, the Inquisition has repeatedly requested the chapter to do everything they can to reduce these mutations, or else they'll get a strongly worded letter telling them how mad and disappointed the Inquisition is. I'm not kidding, the bone dragons have been around for thousands of years, and the Inquisition hasn't done anything beyond being cranky about it, mostly because if you try to censor the black dragons, you would die horribly. To piss off the Inquisition more, or maybe just because it's cool, the black dragons actually encourage the mutations to occur. After all, these bone growths are pretty deadly, especially since the black dragons coat them in adamantium and sharpen them. Take that, racism! Another deviation from the salamanders is the fact that these guys aren't very cuddly. This is partly due to the fact that they might accidentally impale you on their protruding bones during a tender embrace, but also because they're a lot more cold and callous than the salamanders. This is more likely due to the fact that the rest of the Imperium hates them because of their diverse attributes, rather than their gene seed turning them into assholes. Like, these bony black boys are shunned by the rest of the Imperium, with other chapters refusing to fight alongside them. Even the salamanders don't trust them, and there has been violent confrontations between the two. To make matters worse for the Black Dragons, the Dark Elder got really horny about their boniness and resolved to capture some. Hence begun numerous raids on the Black Dragons until a dozen seriously dragon-y Black Dragons were captured. They were then tortured and experimented on for 3 years, until the Dark Elder synthesized the Bone Curse. To the Black Dragons' credit, they nearly escaped 8 times. However, once the Dark Elder had had what they wanted, the Marines were toast. One of the Marines was re-injected with the concentrated Bone Curse, and his bones tore him apart from the inside out. Not ideal. Hence, now the Dark Elder can make bony abominations just cause. A couple hundred years after this, the Black Dragons were purging some Chaos cultists from a planet. They were able to round them all up and get them surrounded on a cliff. They then said to the cultists, "You have 2 options, buddy boys. Either fight us in melee and we will Wolverine your asses, or jump off the cliff and go splitty splat." And yes, I'm using my Salamander's voice for these guys, as I have no evidence to indicate the Bone Curse would affect their vocal cords. Upon hearing this generous offer, every single cultist chose to nosedive off the cliff for a bit of splitty splat. I guess the prospect of getting torn apart by jagged bone wasn't very appealing. The Black Dragons would go on to fight Chaos more, in the form of a Nurglite zombie plague. Despite tearing Nurgle's forces a new one, planets affected by Nurgle are almost always impossible to save, hence they gave it a cheeky little exterminatus. Despite how shunned they are, the Black Dragon still came to the aid of Armageddon during its huge war against Gazkul and his large as hell Wah. They sent nearly their entire chapter to fight, and man, the mental image of the Black Dragons tearing through the Orcs is something to behold. I would love to get an Orc's perspective of the Black Dragons and how they would affect their mental state. The Black Dragons would again step up to the plate and fight alongside Guilliman's Indominus Crusade, even receiving Primaris reinforcements. It has been confirmed that the Black Dragon Primaris can also get the Bone Curse. The first batch likely didn't have it due to how pure and vetted their gene seed is. However, we all know the Black Dragons are a bunch of meme lords who love bones and horns, hence subsequent Primaris have the chance to get the Bone Curse due to some cheeky tinkering. That is pretty much where the Black Dragons are up to in terms of what they've done in the galaxy. Despite how unique they are incredibly niche and haven't been given the love that a lot of other chapters have received. Definitely one that needs the spotlight, I would say. Now we know what they've done. Who are some of the spicier Black Dragons? First up, we have Captain Volos, who got some serious revenge against the Dark Elder for the crimes they committed against the Black Dragons. Him and a small squad boarded a Dark Elder ship and flooded it with oxygen. Once it was full of the O2, they struck a match and the entire thing exploded. Somehow Captain Volos and his warriors survived, but you know, they are dragons, so fire is probably like moisturizer for them. Next up we have Captain Zartath, who underwent a bit of a wacky adventure. He was captured by the Dark Elder, those bloody Dark Elder, and was tortured for sport for 6 years. In that time he went insane and nearly escaped. He was eventually saved by the Salamanders, who had come to save their own Marines, but ended up also reluctantly saving Zartath as well. Despite his rescue, he was a bit cooked in the brain, and the Salamanders were like, "Maybe we don't hug this one, maybe we dip this one in lava and call it a day." But the Salamander chaplain was like, "No, brother, if we do not hug this lizard man, we are not worthy of Daddy Vulcan." Hence the chaplain, metaphorically, and probably quite literally, and probably quite literally gave Zartath a hug, restoring his sanity and inducting him as an honorary salamander who distinguished himself as a scout marine. Not all the black dragons are cool cats though. Chaplain Vartan Ushurak, man, I'm getting sick of these silly try-hard names, was a black dragon chaplain who fell to chaos and helped a renegade salamander form a chaos salamander warband called the Dragon Warriors. The Dragon Warriors are a sworn enemy of the salamanders, but the salamanders have kicked their ass on occasion and ended up killing Vartan Ushurak. That's what you get for having a silly name, you stupid bitch. Some people think that the more mutated a black dragon is, the less noble they are. This couldn't be further from the truth. The bone curse does not drive the black dragons to savagery, it's how they're treated by the wider Imperium. I'm pretty sure I could give this video a subtle message about how racism is wrong, but I'm kinda tired and I can't be bothered, so let's just keep remarking about how cool having bone-armed swords would be. Back to my original point though, Sergeant Urgaresh is the most mutated black dragon around, yet he is their voice of reason and even diffused a fight between the black dragons and salamanders, allowing him and his warriors to be captured rather than fight. No chapter would be complete without a dreadnought, hence Nithig fulfills this role and was instrumental in the filling of the Dark Eldar's ship with oxygen and then blowing them to Kingdom Come. I kinda want some official art to pop up of this guy, and I want it to be super bony. What can I say? I love bones, boning, and boners. The black dragons are vicious, deformed, untrusting, savage, ruthless, and not very cuddly, but behind all that, we have a fiercely loyal and powerful chapter who seek to serve the Imperium despite the constant rejection they receive. Chapters that fall to chaos really are pathetic, as if a bunch of scary black dragons can remain steadfast, then why can't an Ultramarine successor chapter do so as well? Checkmate, David Duke. And that does this for today guys, the lore and story of the Black Dragons chapter. If you enjoyed the video and want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, with only $1 per month giving you access to a boatload of Warhammer hentai. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button for more black content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.